And we are live. Welcome everyone to another live stream. Hope you're doing well. Just gonna wait a sec until I see any comments so I know I'm for sure live. Hello. And Discord people, let me know if you guys can hear me and this is working. Should be good since it's only myself. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're live. Okay. So, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to another live stream. Regularly scheduled at 12 p.m. PST, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. So today we're gonna go over mostly TA stuff. Starting off with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance, and then some individual altcoins. But I've already talked about all of these very, very much, like fundamentals, why I think they're good. Nothing really new on that front, but really is all about recognizing that Bitcoin and overall market is really bullish. Heading into next quarter or two, it's going to be extremely easy to make money as long as you have that mindset. But you just have to, for me personally, I'm closely watching what is happening with Bitcoin dominance and whether Bitcoin is going to lead the charge first, or is it actually this time is different. I don't have a clear answer. I have a opinion of how I see it going out, but I see very, very mixed opinions, and I don't think anyone really knows right now. So but everyone do agree that we are very healthy right now, overall market. It's just the mechanism between Bitcoin and altcoins is getting really weird, and we're not sure if it's a sign to be more cautious or it's a sign to be more degenerate with altcoins. So I'll show you guys what I mean. Okay, starting off with Bitcoin, and let me just share screen. Oh, we got a new thing here. What is this? Hold on. StreamYard just had a new mode thing. Oh, that's cool. I like this. Instead of this, now there's this. Hey, this is cool. Okay. Bring up TradingView. Good update. I like that. Okay, so taking that off and making sure we're on Bitcoin chart. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you guys see the scales. Yeah, so really not much to talk about here. Breakout above previous all-time high, right? Why is it so laggy? Right around 63K here. And you see there are quite a few levels at the previous all-time high. At 58, and then at, I think this is 60.5, and then at 61.2, let's say 61.5. So this entire zone here, I would even say as low as that, right? We want to see price respect this zone, right? In order for this to be counted as a breakout, not a fake out. Yeah, not much to say aside from that. That's on the daily. On the weekly, it's even clearer, right? Because you can take your candle closes. So the previous weekly close, right, for all-time high is just at 60K. So if the weekly can close above 60K and see next week bounce from it, that would be confirmation that we need that this is a breakout and not a fake out. Yeah, so that's for Bitcoin. But even then, even if this was a fake out, there's pretty much no chance that this will be a long-term double top here like this. This has never happened for Bitcoin. So take out for what you will. Like even if this is a fake out, as long as we still respect the previous higher low here at 43, like nothing is wrong. It's just that it's not a parabolic move straight into price discovery. Rather, it's a series of higher highs and higher lows again, right? Where price might look something like, like this, where we made higher high, higher low, higher high now, and then something like higher low, and then another higher high after. Both could happen, right? So we really need to see like, is Bitcoin going to bounce right from 60K? If not, then perhaps the previous higher high at 52, right, could be another good target. And then we have our bottom line at around 43K, right? As long as 43K holds for the higher high, this is still an uptrend. It's very clear. And this is weekly. So yeah, that's also like the longest term like kind of chart that you can like effectively do TA on. And then you could do EMA on this for 21 weekly. And yeah, that pretty much agrees, right? Right at 43, 21 weekly bounce. So this is also something to watch. Yeah, aside from that, I mean, at this current stage, this is still extremely bullish. And it's just a matter of, okay, how bullish are we in the short term? Is it going to bounce from 60 or is it going to come down to retest something like high 50s or even 52? Regardless of what happens, it's still in an uptrend. So that's the mindset that we need to have right now because it's what the chart is telling us. So do not make any shorts, do not make any bets against it in such a strong uptrend, right? Instead, it's it only makes sense to be buying the dips. Okay, so that's Bitcoin, and then let's move on to Ethereum. Yeah, so Ethereum, very, very similar kind of scenario, right? So our entry before was around 2.9K, which was resistance here, support here, right? This bounce. And now Ethereum is also sitting at previous all-time high, right? If you count this wick, that's like 4.2K. If you count the closest only, who has their mic? I'm just gonna mute real quick. Yeah, make sure you keep yourself muted. Yeah, if you count the candle close, that's around 39K, 3.9K. So we still need to wait for that confirmation to come through, right? On the daily, that would be a bounce, right, from at least 3.9K here. And on the weekly, it will be a close above 3.9, right? Something like 4K, and then close above that for a week. That would be the confirmation. Still not much to say about that either, because even if this doesn't close above 3.9K in this rally, it's still fine because this is still, higher high here, higher low here, and then this, ideally it makes a higher high, but it just needs to respect the higher low here, right around 2.9. So it's not as clear as Bitcoin, the uptrend in Ethereum, because we haven't broken the previous kind of higher high here to make a new higher high. But that doesn't mean we are at all in a downtrend because as long as we respect 2.9K as the previous higher low, this is still only makes sense to be buying dips instead of betting against the trend. Yeah, so that's Ethereum. And something really particularly interesting is like ETH versus Bitcoin. This is a chart that like everyone's talking about and really nobody has a very convinced opinion. I think it's just because it's like people's time frames are different, right? So here's what I mean. So if you look at ETH versus BTC, right, this is the chart of Ethereum compared against Bitcoin. And usually you need to see this going up in order for, a bet on Ethereum to make sense because you need to see it outperform Bitcoin, right? And also let me just check sound here, make sure everything is working. Should be. Okay. So yeah, so looking at the weekly, right, we do have a very, very clear here, a lower high, right? This is on the weekly time frame. So now you need to wait for something like a breakdown below 0.058, 0.06, something like this, right? Very classic example, right? A lower high and then neckline. You can even Google that, right? Lower high neckline break, or just like double top neckline break, right? But I think this could even give us something here. I don't want a t-shirt. Yeah, there is a inverted version there, but we can do let's say double top. Right. This will be much clearer of the actual pattern, right? Very, very typical pattern, right? First peak, second peak, neckline, right? The confirmation only comes when the neckline is broken here. So let me just take this into a image, right? So the entry, well, the trigger here was the break below the neckline, right? In this case, this is a clear reversal pattern, right? Now the trend is, at least in the short term, going towards downside. Now, ETH-BTC, the double top or lower high, whatever you want to call it, very, very clear, right? Now, the only question is if we can get a weekly close below the neckline, right? Which I would say like something like 0.06. Hasn't happened yet, doesn't mean it won't happen, right? So this is on the weekly. So on the weekly time frame, I do think ETH and overall altcoin market will probably be losing against Bitcoin, like medium term. Just looking at, because this is a weekly chart, right? But if you zoom into the daily and take away from this double top there, you see on the daily, there's also a double bottom here kind of forming, right? So this is what a lot of people are arguing about, is like, oh, like, is it going to go up or down? Like, is ETH going to outperform Bitcoin or not? I think in the short term, well, not even I think, it's showing us in the short term that ETH is getting a bounce against Bitcoin. That is true, right? With this double bottom here. But in the long term, right, this is still very clear. So then you have to think about, okay, what kind of position, time frame you're looking at, right? Are you betting on like a couple weeks where you're going to be in ETH and then you're going to switch into Bitcoin once this just starts to revert? Or are you just very long term and you only check your portfolio every few days, so you won't even notice this move? That's the kind of thing that only yourself knows. So I can't really tell you. What I can tell you that is, at least in the very, very short term, yes, there is a bounce back in altcoins against Bitcoin, but I don't think that will last. Yeah. So that's kind of my view on it. And specifically like 0.06, right? Once this breaks, it's going to be very clear by that point that ETH can head to something like 0.04-ish for this ratio, right? Now that could be because Bitcoin drops a lot, or if Bitcoin pumps too much and ETH staying still. Bitcoin pumping is the more likely scenario, just because Bitcoin is in an uptrend right now, right? So I think we are seeing this, not really because it's decoupling, but because Bitcoin is calming down, right? But I don't want to bet against Bitcoin will just like kind of stay still here for too long. I think that's like a week, 2 weeks maximum type of move. Whereas this kind of move is still much more important. So yeah. So that's Ethereum, right? Now let's move on to Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, same thing on Bitcoin dominance. Very, very tricky here. I can't say that I know for sure what's going to happen, to be quite honest with you. And I don't think anyone really. I've talked to a lot of people about this as well. Very many people are very mixed. So yeah, everyone's very like willing to admit that they're wrong right now. So myself included, right? Um, so here's what I'm seeing, right? Very clear. You see here on the weekly time frame, right? Very long term, a double bottom, right? And the neckline is right at 47.5%. And if this neckline breaks, it's going to be very clear that we get a larger kind of flow of profits from alts back into Bitcoin. Now, obviously, this hasn't broken yet, right? So this is why, like in the short term, right, this neckline is still acting as resistance, and you see many people saying, "Oh, look, like, haha, you guys rotated back into Bitcoin too early. Like, this is going to like just moon. Altcoins are going to moon because of this." But what they're really only looking at is like the past 3 days, right? Yes, past 3 days, alts had a bit of a bounce against Bitcoin. That's true, but because that's hit resistance. So whether that's a long term, let's say multi-month, or something that can set the next quarter of is it going to be major Bitcoin's time or altcoin's time, nobody is sure yet, right? If you are really going to convince me that this is a weekly time frame, like continuation down, then it needs to make a lower high here, a lower low here, right? Break below 40%. That would be a very, very convincing long-term move. Something like this up here, right? You see, when it was in this period, nobody was sure, right? Like it was very tricky. On one hand, you have this kind of bounce up here, right? So then a lot of people were like, okay, like look, Bitcoin is rallying, we gotta exit. But then just at some point it topped, and then on this range, a lot of people were still hesitant. They're saying, oh, this is just a relief rally, like alts are gonna still lag behind Bitcoin. But then what really kick-started alt season, and when everyone was sure, was right here, right on probably around March, when alts really start to take off against Bitcoin. And you see very quickly that was the major alt season. And by this point, nobody was like unsure anymore. So yeah, so until this kind of lower low and the new lower low is made, like you cannot really convince anyone to say, okay, this is a long-term move that just because for the past 3 days altcoins have done like a little bit of bounce against Bitcoin, that is going to just like dominate for 3 months. That's not very practical, right? That's just wrong. However, I'm very willing to admit that if we get below 40%, then like I'm extremely wrong, right? But I cannot ignore this double bottom here, right? Like this. So my bet is still on that this neckline will break, and once this breaks, like very few people that are bullish on altcoins in like right now will still be able to be bullish, because this will be much clearer. At the moment, it's still not clear, right? So my money is in Bitcoin, and I know that for the past 3 days I've missed out on some individual altcoin pumps, but not too much, right? And I know that Bitcoin is in an uptrend, so I'm not going to lose money, right? That's very clear. But it's just a matter of needing to see this 47.5% neckline break. I really hope it does, and maybe we do some sort of a double bottom and then a third like handle, so you complete like a cup handle or make another higher low here, whatever the pattern might be, right? Yeah, my chips are placed in the camp that this can break, but yeah, if it doesn't, still fine, right? I'm holding Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in an uptrend, and I'll just end up having to buy back into altcoins a little bit higher, which is totally fine. But I don't want to be kind of trapped in a position where I'm super, exposed in altcoins, but this breaks out. Then I'll be like watching alts bleed. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just take a more conservative bet. And that's why like majority of my position is in Bitcoin right now. Yeah, it's just so unsure right now that I'd rather just wait. Yeah, but I say unsure only in the case that I'm unsure whether Bitcoin will really lead the charge in this next 3 months of bull run, or if they're just gonna all go together and you should be in altcoins at the same time. I'm unsure of that. So I'm taking the more conservative approach and taking the less risky asset there. That's clearly in an uptrend. If you just compare, like, very simply, right? Bitcoin, right, side by side with, let's say Ethereum, SDT, right? Just going back to what we talked about for the levels, right? And weekly on both, or even daily. Daily is probably a little bit better. So you see on the daily, right? Bitcoin definitely could count as a breakout above previous all-time high already. Whereas Ethereum, not so sure. You see? Like technically, even the wick didn't really break above previous all-time high. So even if this is the case for Ethereum, like there are very select altcoins that you can really find that's leading Bitcoin right now. Yeah, so this is kind of another way to look at it, right? Also, the short-term uptrend for Bitcoin is much clearer than Ethereum because here we had a higher high, higher low. This isn't much higher, right? Even on the weekly, it hasn't really closed above it. Whereas on Bitcoin, right, the higher high was back here, right? And then higher low, higher high. So this is much clearer, the uptrend here. So betting on Bitcoin's price in the next 3 months to go up, that's kind of just like extremely no-brainer at this point. So that I have like no problem being in. Even on the second largest coin and the biggest altcoin out there, Ethereum's case, it's not really that clear, right? So this is why, like, yeah, another case that don't want to be too quick to jump the gun here into like getting super risky positions into alts. Pre-price discovery, I'd rather just wait it out and whatever the outcome might be, right? Whether I'm extremely wrong and alts pump 100% and Bitcoin is in price discovery, but alts all lead Bitcoin, that's still fine because alts can still 10x. I'll just catch the rest of that 10x. Yeah, I want to be in a position of strength right now. So that's why for the past, let's say half a week, close to a week now, I've been in Bitcoin and I'm sitting like extremely comfortably knowing that this uptrend in Bitcoin is like very, very clear. And just waiting to see what happens. Yeah, don't want to get greedy here. Absolutely do not want to use leverage, like zero leverage. Anyone that uses any leverage at all in this period will get wrecked. Like I can say like 90% chance you will lose all your money by the end of this run within the next 3 months. Speaking from experience, you do not want to be risk friendly here, because if you're watching these streams and you're watching Bitcoin, you have all these altcoins that we have talked about fundamentally, you're set. You just need to find the best kind of plan for yourself that can for sure take advantage of that run and at no point be overexposed so you can be wiped out. That's like all you need in this next 3 to 6 months. You don't need fancy TA. You don't need to time it. Like, let's say, oh, it breaks out. Like, I'm going to long here. You don't need to say like, oh, it's dropping. I'm going to long here. It doesn't matter if you bought like here, if you bought super high, you bought super low. As long as you bought little enough that you're not leveraged and you're not scared, you will be able to profit. It's because the trend is that clear right now. Everything's aligned, but that's the period where greed is at its maximum, and that's a period where we really need to speak to yourself and just like tell yourself that this is maximum greed period. There'll be so many times where I can look at a chart and initially I thought, okay, like, I just want 3x. But then you look at it and it looks super clear that it can 3x in 2 months, and you think, oh, what if I do a 2x leverage? That's what gets you wiped. So make sure you adjust your expectations in this part of the rally. I think that's the most important thing. It really doesn't matter much else. Stop trying to hunt for individual coins that you think will outperform. Stop trying to time everything, and just figure out what's you're the most comfortable with and just go with that. And for me right now, that's being in Bitcoin and waiting for a very, very clear signal to move into alts. Yeah. And I'll actively tell myself that all my alt picks can still 10x from here. So I have no problem missing a little bit of profit. Yeah, so that's something. Okay, and I don't really have too much to cover individually. I made a tweet, and I actually pinned it on my profile just to kind of remind everyone and myself as well, like kind of my plan for like actual alts for the next 3 to 6 months, right? So this is the tweet. There's kind of 2 main areas in DeFi, 1 main ecosystem, and 1 other niche of coins that all of these here combine. So Joel, Synapse, ICE, Spell, yeah. So these 4 coins are kind of my bet on multi-chain narrative. Joel is by far the best, like most undervalued exchange right now, DEX-wise. There's so much lined up for it. Synapse, like it's pumping like crazy, but I think it's still very, very early, because it's the most dominant bridge I've used. It's my by default bridge now to any chain. ICE, multi-chain aggregator, right? About to relaunch. Spell, multi-chain, multi-collateral, like MakerDAO/DAI alternative, like money market for stablecoins, right? So these 4, first off, are my bets on multi-chain narrative. And then I have Ohm, Time, Tempo, Climate, right? These are the Olympus forks that really do something different and are taking advantage of this really Ponzi-nomics, but like way to like bootstrap the liquidity and etc. Like these coins overall are still very, very bullish. But you have to understand what they do, and you have to understand how to stake them in order to actually profit, right? And then Dot, followed by Glimmer, which is Moonbeam, Akala, Astar. These 4 are going to be my bets in the Polkadot ecosystem. So buying up Dot and contributing to the Moonbeam, Akala, Astar network, like crowd loans. Parallel is Parallel NFT. This is a probably the biggest NFT card game out there that actually has like traction. That could be a competitor to Axie. And then there are some like individual there are some layer 2 plays that could fit to this list. Maybe I'll just tweet here. Maybe add play to earn L2s. And that would be Ronin. Axie's Ronin Chan. There's Immutable or IMX. And then like Engine/Affinity. Like this would be one narrative that could pop up. None of these have really launched yet. So, but this is still something to watch. That's other narrative that I think it's going to be absolutely exploding. Right. I don't want to bet on individual games aside from Parallel because it's just like there's so much garbage. Like 99% of them are garbage. So I want to bet on the infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, I mean the underlying chain with utility, not marketplaces, not like Rarible, because no marketplace slash like commerce coins have done well. I really want to bet on the technology layer. And then maybe you could maybe add Flow in here, right? And then Grow, Chess, Ribbon, and Lemma. This is another narrative of structured products in DeFi that I'm super bullish on. I've talked about this a lot last Sunday. It's kind of ways to present complex DeFi into just one or two products within one platform and make it very optimized and assume all of the risk is zero and like guarantee your principal and just give you like whatever the rate is and what the asset is. So you can invest in it directly, right? Like there are tons of structured products in traditional markets, right? Where when people don't want to do options, right, there will be structured products for whatever option strategies, right? I'm not an expert in options, but that's what Ribbon does. Chess is like risk tranching of your asset, right? Same as Grow. So Grow and Chess do stablecoin tranches and BTC tranches, where some people can have exposed leverage, higher leverage, and like more potential fluctuation, and then the other side of the tranche will be guaranteeing that a higher, not guaranteeing, supplying the higher exposure while getting the guarantee from the higher tranche. These kind of structured products are really popular, and Grow does this for stablecoins. Chess does this for Bitcoin. And then you have lastly Lemma. This is a very innovative platform. I don't think I have heard anyone talk about it aside from like super insiders, because I don't think there's a coin even for this. This is a basis trading protocol product. So you put ETH in, and they use that ETH to run automated strategies on funding rates. That's basis trading, right? So whenever like futures market is like super expensive, whereas spot market is cheap and futures they're paying premiums, then you can like kind of run a hedged strategy there where you have delta neutral exposure. That's what they call it, but basically just like you're $100 long, $100 short, so you're just flat, but you earn the funding rate that people pay you. So that's one way that people make money, right, on futures exchanges. And but there's no really, unless you're a DeFi power user and like exchange power user, you cannot really do this. But the yield on there is actually really high. I've tried it before. So Lemma is a platform where you deposit your ETH into it and it just runs this automatically. These are what I call structured products. And these 4 coins is kind of my kind of picks in this like category. Yeah, so this is just my total plan now for at least the next 3 months. Like this is kind of all I need. I just like throw equal amounts into all of these. But really question right now is like, when do I do it? I'm still betting on, Bitcoin to really bounce here and flush all the altcoin markets. That would be ideal. It would be a really ideal time where I, just pick up all of these for super cheap. I'm hoping for that. That would be a huge win for me. But if it doesn't happen and just kind of Bitcoin just holds still and like goes up and then altcoins also go up, at some point I will also just like rotate. But so far, still betting on Bitcoin to pump and to like completely dominate the market. But again, I don't have a crystal ball, so I'm prepared either way. Yeah, so let's just do questions. Let's do questions. I don't think there's too much to talk about because we have covered like so much already over the past like month or so on these narratives and individual picks. So let me just bring up Discord and we can do questions. Let me zoom in on this. Let's see. Sign up big today. Yeah. Sign up is great today. Congrats if you guys are still holding. Dirk Diggler says no AVAX or Luna anymore. You can bet on those. Those will significantly outperform. I just like the mid caps a bit more. But yeah, if I were looking at large caps, I would take those. I think I have most of the AVAX exposure though. With Joe. Yeah, like if you want AVAX, you might as well get Joe. There isn't really anything on Luna that fits that way, but on Joe, like just treat Joe as like a 2x long AVAX with no liquidation. That's pretty much what it is. Also the top ecosystems, top coins like Luna, Cosmos, AVAX, Algorand, like even like stuff like Harmony, Near, like these things will all do well still. I think those are very, very easy for people to get into. It doesn't mean just because I don't hold them doesn't mean I think they'll go down. I just don't think they'll outperform my kind of plan here. But again, my plan is usually like pretty like thesis driven instead of just kind of vague. And I want really big gains and pretty big risk. So yeah, not for everyone. And like you have to go on all kinds of exchanges and different chains to get these, and like you have to understand like how to stake stuff. For Parallel, you have to actually bind NFTs. And for immutable stuff, like these things aren't even listed, so like it's very early. Yeah. What's your opinion on Plan B's stock to flow model? It's a great kind of benchmark to look at. I've been talking about it since like last summer, just to kind of get the top targets for this cycle, like 200 to 300k. It's not a crystal ball, right? He doesn't claim it to be. It's just like it's cool. It's definitely cool. But at some point that model does fall apart. When you zoom out to like 10, 20 years, with that kind of linear what's it called? The scarcity comparison. When he mapped like scarcity of silver is like somewhere here, scarcity of gold is somewhere here, scarcity of Bitcoin is like, moving it past it. But then like because Bitcoin halving will continue, like the scarcity of Bitcoin will eventually be so high that it's going to be like hundreds of millions of dollars that it just doesn't make sense anymore, right? So at some point it falls apart, but currently it works. Yes. Okay, let's look at comments on YouTube and the Twitter if there's anything. Your favorite project for long-term investment? Bitcoin and ETH for long-term, right? Video on how to invest in the crowd loans. I don't need to do one. Just Google it. How to do Polkadot crowd loan. Like just type that into your URL bar right now and you find it. Like I'm not gonna beat those kind of videos. I can link you to a couple, but I don't see why I need to. Like literally Polkadot themselves and Moonbeam and these guys, they all have official videos. So you're way better off like listening to them. Do you recommend following anyone on Twitter that makes good calls and talk about nice and upcoming projects? Maybe do you have a list already? You can share a few names. Not really. Not really. Nobody really makes good calls. No. Well, not because there's no good Twitter people, but If you're falling for calls, like, oh, where do I buy? Where do I sell? Like, I'll just listen to you. Nobody does that. Because nobody's right 100% of the time. And if you only follow them, and nobody even posts every time that they make a trade and goes super in depth into like, oh, what they're doing, and like stop loss, take profit, like strategy, and like, and guarantees that you get it at that time. So there's no calls. There's good analysis, a lot of good analysis, but I spend a lot of time on Twitter. But I follow so many people that I look at like what everyone is saying, and if it's a narrative that I have seen before, then it's good. I don't just take 10 people saying this narrative, so this is great. No, I just kind of follow enough people so that I get all kinds of narratives, and then I kind of try to adjust myself based on what I think is more probable, and then like formulate a strategy myself. Like, when is this narrative right and when is it wrong, and I follow it based on the chart or the development myself instead of following calls, because yeah. So there's nobody good for calls, but if you think about also, I don't think anyone really gives really good there are tons of people that give good alpha for like stuff to look at. But let's walk through it. So for specifically Bitcoin traders that get like these big rotations right and early, I would say like this guy, Byzantine General, Kaleo. You said Kaleo's pretty good. He only does this, right? He doesn't do altcoin shit. He only does Bitcoin, right? Pentoshi, Cred, Down Alt, Hentai Avenger. This guy, he's a joking name, but he's very good trader. I would say Messiah is okay. Messi. Also at Hero Labs, RT is good analyst for pure TA. There's someone that skipped. Oh yeah, Rookie. Rookie is like really good as well. These guys like Bitcoin only, and they're all like very very macro focused, so they shift very very quickly. Not because they're just particularly like always right, but because they don't really fundamentally like believe so strongly about altcoins anyways, right? That they just trade it. So whenever like Bitcoin dominance like starts going the other way, or Bitcoin starts pumping, they are able to detach their kind of emotions from those altcoins very very fast. So yeah, I follow these guys for that kind of rotation. But on the other side of the spectrum, there are people that give really good like altcoin picks. That's like very wide spectrum. You have to follow a ton of people. I don't think anyone really just gives it out and just like here, buy this, buy this, buy this. Nobody does that. But yeah, if you follow enough people, like you gotta take trial and error. Like look at when someone posts about something, if it's like super early, like it's pre-launch, or if it's just launched and literally nobody's talking about it, or if it's already pumped a lot and it's clear that they were in private sale. So you gotta filter your list that way eventually. Which yeah, I can't really give you like anyone specific to follow. Yeah, but I definitely don't follow anyone that gives calls. That's a scam. Yeah. I have no thoughts on stock market because I don't trade stocks. Next 2 weeks, but I didn't think we will see any bull run or alt season. I'm not even sure what you mean. Do you think it's good strategy to sell all gains into BTC when they're doing well versus Bitcoin? Yeah, but at the right time though, right? When Bitcoin dominance is just starting to go up. You're in BTC and dollar only. I'm in BTC only right now. What's the summary? Are we bouncing back up? Yeah, of course. That's one thing I can tell you is like this is not weakness. This is extreme strength here. Yeah, cannot be more bullish on Bitcoin. Very rarely can I tell you that, but right now I can tell you that. Like you have to get into the mindset now of only up. For the next like 3 months or so, it's going to be only up. Like if you short, you will lose. Like it's just I can guarantee you. But you also don't want to be over leveraged because there will be swings, right? When it goes only up, such as that, like it's like pumps a lot, it also swings big. So you don't want to take on extra exposure here. That is the wrong thing to do because you will get liquidated. Looking at Trader Joe, what pool and staking options would you recommend? Check out Yodiak or Beefy because they auto compound those pools, and then just find the best rates on there. What exchange do you use for small, medium cap tokens that you buy? Is all on Uniswap? It's all on CoinGecko. Like I said, right on the list that I put out, right? Like it's none of these are on Uniswap. Synapse is on Uniswap. Ice is on Uniswap. Spell. But like these other guys, they're on like this one's on mostly Sushi. This is on Trader Joe. This is on Trader Joe. This isn't even out yet. This is on Polygon. These are on Dot, right? This is on BSC. This is on Uni. So you have to know how to find these things, right? Just go on CoinGecko and find where they're trading. The coin you are referring to is Joe. The coins, all the coins that I'm referring to are here. Follow me on Twitter. Do you think One Harmony could be a solid bet with a momentum of GameFi and DeFi? Thanks, by the way, for you. So that's, I don't. Yeah, it's a solid bet, but define solid. But all of these things that you said, GameFi, DeFi Kingdom, Tranquil launching, I have no idea what those things are, and I don't think those are relevant at all. Yeah. But it is a solid bet because it fits into the larger narrative of layer ones. Don't ever use RSI this way to wait till RSI hits however high. That's a meme. That's a meme. It doesn't work. Only use RSIs for divergence. When's the launch for Tempo? Opening ceremony for the public launch hasn't been live yet. They just posted the first article for like kind of this launch period. Go on their Discord, check out the announcement. Go on the Twitter, check out the announcement. I don't have more information than you do. I'm also not in the Fire Ritual, so you have to be able to read that by yourself. Otherwise, you will not be able to get in this. Why do you think .eco will explode once Parachain auctions launch? On the projects still in development when they win the auction? No, they're not. Your information is wrong. Meant to say, will you be telling us what crowd loans are you putting your DOT into and when? Sure. Sure, I guess. But it's a valuation game, so it's not a I'll do whatever Bacon does game. That's kind of funny. I don't have extra information than you do. But yeah, I'll tell you guys based on the valuation. But if you cannot understand math, then yeah, I will also tell you like which ones I see are undervalued and what the numbers are. But that's not because like I'm getting in, so you should get in, right? You should understand the numbers. Do you also think that rebase token Ohm time climb and run contrary to BTC? It could happen. So far they're at least holding still, so could happen. Yeah, that's something that really could happen. Yeah. Why has CRO not moved like Binance or any other exchanges? Why has CRO not moved like other exchange coins? I don't know. I don't work at CRO. I've given up on it like a year ago. Not a year, maybe like 8 months ago. When they didn't move, when the rest of the exchanges just pump. So you don't want to like fool yourself there. If it doesn't perform, it's something's happening, right? Then you just move on to the good performing coins. Is it a good idea to wait to sell everything until? Again, this is a terrible idea. Stop doing that. Like, don't watch RSI for just individual percentages, and don't ask that again. It's just a terrible way to look at it. It's everyone that uses RSI that way like has never made money. Aren't you concerned about all the unsold coins? What are you talking about? Oh, Ribbon, you mean? No, not concerned. His valuation is low. Like, I don't know what you mean. Every project has unsold coins. Why aren't you worried about Solana? Now there's billions of dollars held. Like, how's that relevant? You know, like there's hundreds of billions of Bitcoin that can be sold at any time. Does that mean that it just scares you off? Like, how is that relevant? What do you think about Parachains on Kusama? Yeah. Do you think it's still a good investment or just better way for Glimmer once Parachains on Polkadot is release? Parachains on Polkadot, I don't know. I think there's way too many Parachains on Kusama that I haven't looked at enough to say which ones are undervalued. There could be good plays there. But from what I can see, like there definitely are good plays in the top parachains in DOT, which are like, Moonbeam, Akala, Astar, these things, as long as their valuations are good, they're going to be good bets. There are some that are on Kusama parachains, like the new batches for the next year, that will be good. But there's so many that I need to do a lot more research. At the current stage, I don't have any that I even looked into yet. There's just way too many things. Is Polkadot.js or Fearless? I use Polkadot.js for the crowd loans. Is it wise to transition to rebase tokens once BTC has hit its peak 150k approximately? I have no idea. I have no idea, dude. I don't even know if it's going to hit 150k. I don't know if rebase tokens are going to be the outperformers. That's why I have them as one of the categories here, but I don't have it as the only category. So I don't know. What the fuck is XYO? I have no idea what that is. I know it's not a proper question, but I'm very down in ICP in future trade. I don't know what the next I bought it at 65. Yeah, that's not a proper question, and I cannot help you. I mean, you said it yourself. You don't know when to exit. I don't know when to exit either. Like, sorry, dude. You're basically saying like, oh, look, like I lost money. Can you help me make it back? I can't. I cannot. Like, doesn't matter how you frame that question. I cannot help you. You know what I mean? Like, I am going to have a windfall soon. So you had the $1 million to invest in the crypto world. How would you allocate for long-term holds? Bitcoin and Ethereum for long-term hold. Pretty clear. What is your view on option Max Pain price on forecast BTC prices? Option Max Pain? What? No, I'm not sure I understand that question. I didn't pop any party details. I've been way too busy doing these altcoin research. NFTs to accumulate punks. That's the only one that I'm convinced. Maybe Bakes. Very, 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 very maybe. Yeah. Surely DOT is bullish next few months. Yeah, definitely. How's Bollinger Booster and Smartcoin work? Watch their video. Look into their docs. I can repeat it for you, but I mean, I don't know how I can explain it better. Thank you for that. At least from my end, I want to understand the numbers of Akala and the evaluation. Yeah, so because they haven't started, raising, right? So we don't know what the actual like valuation will be. Yeah, I'll definitely walk you guys through the valuation, but I will not simply tell you I'm getting into this. You should too. That's just dumb. Yeah. And I also do not appreciate if you tell me I got into this because you told me, even though like valuations are good, but it's you don't like you don't understand it, then I'm not gonna answer that, right? I promise to not give just like kind of nonsensical opinions like that, but I also appreciate if you don't come to me with like kind of nonsensical complaints. Yeah. What the price are you planning to buy DOT for auctions? No target. I plan to buy when Bitcoin pumps enough and when altcoins have dipped enough, or I'm clearly wrong that altcoins are just going to outperform. So it's a macro Bitcoin dominance thing, not a specific entry target for DOT. Could be anything, and I would still buy. If you don't understand that, then you should probably just get in it anyways. Like, I'm watching Bitcoin. I'm watching Bitcoin dominance for the optimal time to get into alts, right? Seeing that Bitcoin dominance is showing double bottom here, right? So I'm waiting for this kind of move to happen, betting on it. And once this completes, I will buy all the alts that I want. I don't know what the price of DOT will be at that point, but I don't really care either. Which exchange do you buy Joe on? Go on CoinGecko.com, type in Joe on the top right, and then on the bottom left, you see a markets tab. Click on the markets tab, and then look at the exchanges list. Look at which one has the highest volume. Figure out how to use that exchange, and buy it. That should be Trader Joe, but you will have to go through that process yourself. Is rising TVL on DeFi a good indicator that coin might pump? Not really at this point. Not really, because all TVL is going up. So not particularly. No. Usually good. At least at the very least, you don't want to see TVL falling. But every TVL is rising, so it doesn't really matter anymore. Mina is a privacy layer one using ZK Snarks and enabling smart contracts. I don't know if it's time yet. It's not all hype. It definitely is not. Is it going to pump right now? I don't know. I don't really see anyone talking about it. When Bitcoin dominance is too high, will you sell Joe? What? I'm literally in Bitcoin right now. Like, I don't have Joe right now. I'm planning to buy Joe when Bitcoin dominance is high and shows the reversal. Like, so that this has already happened when Bitcoin dominance, and it's not too high either. It's trending up. Bitcoin dominance has been trending up. So I've sold my Joe, just as pretty much every other altcoin. Okay. I see. Thought you had Joe. I did. I'm still watching it. But I do think I can get more Joe in this Bitcoin dominance run up. Assuming that Bitcoin runs first and the rest of the altcoins will lag behind. That's what my bet is on right now, right? So it's not a matter of, okay, I think Joe is going to go down. No, I just want to catch the Bitcoin wave first so that I can get more altcoins, like more of these top altcoins that we have been talking about once I have caught the Bitcoin wave. That might happen, that might not, but that's what I'm betting on. Any news on Enzyme wallet share trading for Platinum? Yeah, so probably not through Enzyme, because Enzyme doesn't even have access to any of these coins here that I've listed. So I don't even know what I would put in there. So I am working on a separate channel in our Discord to just straight up track my portfolio. Like every trade is there. Yeah, and just like pings you guys. That's probably the cleanest way to do this. Yeah. Thoughts on Reef? It used to be very Polkadot focused. Now it's not. I'm not so bullish on it. Not really. Do you have a strategy to save taxes by taking profits? Let's say December, January. I don't. You have to ask your accountant. I have 3K on the bank and 25K in crypto. Am I stupid? I don't know. Do you need the money? Any thoughts on the DeFi 2.0 projects, i.e. Ohm, Spell, Climate DAO, etc.? Yeah, right here. Look, like literally just go back to earlier this stream when I talked about all my picks here. Aside from Dot ecosystem here and Parallel, which is like NFT, all of the other coins are the three narratives I see in DeFi 2.0, which is like multi-chain with these coins, Ohm forks and that kind of Ponzinomics, these coins, and then here structured products, these coins. I don't really want to reiterate, but if you just scroll back like kind of halfway through, yeah, you get a detailed breakdown. Okay, I think that's about it. Let me see if any other last questions. Have you looked into Cosmos, Gravity, DEX, and Bridge? I'm sure this is going to be part of the multi-chain narrative. Thinking a play could be to pick up some Cosmos native tokens in anticipation of Gravity Bridge. Yeah, so Joe, here's what I'm seeing currently. Is like in the next 3 to 6 months, the market is going to be absolutely insane. Like even 3 to 4 months, by like January, February, it'll be so crazy. Like Cosmos is launching, Polkadot is launching, Cardano smart contracts, fucking Ethereum, Bitcoin ETF, like DeFi 2.0. Everyone's racing. FTX might even go public by then. India's extremely frothy right now. Polygon's going to be extremely big. Binance, a BSC, $1 billion fund. Every single other ecosystem has like $500 million plus fund. So this, what you have right now is like everyone is trying to get your attention, like saying, this is our major release. But like literally there's 20 ecosystems that will have major releases in the next 3 to 4 months. That it's irrelevant. Nobody's going to outperform anyone else. Unless you have, well, if you're just being very vague in the ecosystems, you're not going to find the outperformers in those ecosystems. Because overall, the ecosystems will just kind of all go together. Like, because they're all planned for the same time. They all see what's happening, which is next 3 to 4 months, it's going to be hilariously crazy, the crypto market. So if you like the Cosmos ecosystem and you think you have some sort of edge in researching their projects, then yeah, pick their ecosystem and really dive deep and find like the true alpha. For me, I like AVAX. I like ETH DeFi. I like Ohm forks. So those are the kind of things I do. But I could easily, I also like the DOT narrative, but I could easily just like do just as enough research in Cosmos and find the true alpha, or like deep research in Luna and find the true alpha. They'll probably perform similarly to like my current setup. But you cannot get everything, because like there is no one that will vaguely outperform the other. All the ecosystems will like be insane. That at some point people will all try to get your attention and be like, hey, look, like this ecosystem you're missing Cosmos ecosystem. Why are you only in DOT? But there's like 10. You cannot be in all of them. It literally wastes your time. So pick the one that you are the most fundamentally fan of and understand, and just do deep research and find the gems in there. That's kind of what I would say. Like, even if you're a Polygon fan, I know for a fact that Polygon is going to be extremely big through the like next 3 months or so, because there's so many projects happening in India on Polygon. So much more money. FTX is moving big into India. And it's going to pick up. But I'm not a fan, and I don't have the knowledge in there to really dig deep and to be so convinced. So that's why I know I'm missing it, but it doesn't matter. I get the same kind of performance in AVAX ecosystem or in ETH DeFi. So yeah, this is already a point that I spend like 12 hours a day on Twitter, but I cannot get everything. I need to miss a lot of stuff. If you still try to get everything, you will get wrecked, because they will, over the next 3-4 months, they will probably all vaguely perform the same and like pump a lot. But if you're always like you're keeping track of too many things, you will feel like you're missing the rotations, but nobody catches all the rotations. So what you might end up doing is like, okay, I'm in AVAX right now, but then, hey, look, Luna popped this week. Let me move to Luna, catch the pump. But then, like, once you're in Luna, you see, oh no, Cosmos is pumping this week. Let me try to catch Cosmos. Oh, let me try to catch AVAX again. Oh shit, like Cardano's popping up. Oh no, DOT crowd loans are starting. What you end up with is like you're always chasing and no conviction. That's how you lose. And I did that a lot in 2017. And even back then, it wasn't even whole ecosystems. There was so much less information, but even then, nobody could catch all the pumps. So don't try to do that. Definitely just pick a few narratives that you truly believe in and you have conviction, and just like ignore the rest. And know that even over medium term, like 3 months period, the gains will be the same. And also know that over a 3 month period, nobody can rotate 5 ecosystems over 3 months. Nobody does that. Literally 0 people does that profitably. So don't try to do it. You are not losing money. Over rotation is bad. Yeah, this is it. So I think this Bitcoin to overall alt rotation is probably the only one I'm gonna do. Yeah. So yeah. You might feel like you're losing the gains, but if you are trying to catch everything and you are comparing your gains in Polkadot to like someone that's only does Polkadot, you will underperform their gains in the Polkadot niche. But like what you end up with is like in other ecosystems, you have just as much gains. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you have conviction in what you're getting it over this next period. Like I know for a fact already, I'm running out of time and brain power. That like most of the time I'm just seeing so much that like fuck, like I can't do them all. Yeah, and believe me, nobody can do it all. Yeah. So I've started to kind of declutter my kind of information flow a bit as well. Like there's a lot of ecosystems that I know are popping, but I just I choose to ignore it because like I know it's the same time frame as like what I already have, and it's just going to take away my energy and my focus that I like end up losing money. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. There's a question about Harbor Wallet. I definitely don't recommend getting a Ledger. If you're on EVM chains, get a Trezor. Trezor is 100 times better than a Ledger. I've used both for 2 years. Trezor is 100 times better than Ledger. Straight up. Only two chains that you need for Ledger is like Polkadot and Solana. That's it. This Ledger just is trash for EVM. because the MetaMask connection is super terrible. It's extremely bad. It disconnects like half the time. Yeah. I haven't tried any other wallet like SafePal, like Grid, and so I cannot speak on those. But I can tell you that Trezor is really good. One more question: why do you think NFTs are experiencing somehow a bear trend right now? Is it because of the price surge in BTC and ETH? I don't know. I don't have a reason for it. I don't think the reason matters. Yeah, I really don't know. Will you recommend to be a validation node? Recently, I saw Sora had some information about this. Sure, if you can get as deep as the being validator level, you can get some really good connections and like into stuff early. If you want, it's not for most people though. You have to be very technical. What is your opinion? A good price to buy DOT again? There's no opinion. I'm waiting for Bitcoin dominance to pick up and for alts to all kind of lag behind. And then once Bitcoin dominance starts double topping and trending down again, I'll buy all my alts. I might try the SafePal stuff. I know Binance backs them, so it's definitely not a bad bet. Okay, I think that's it for today. It's about all the time I have. It's been pretty long stream. So good talk, guys. Mostly, talking through it with myself as well, so I can stay focused and stick to my plan. I know that like nobody knows for sure, but just like I'm not afraid to admit that I'm wrong, but it hasn't happened yet, so I'm still waiting on this. The uptrend for Bitcoin dominance. Hope it happens. If it doesn't happen, I'm fine. Like overall, it's so bullish that yeah, cool. Looks good. Definitely don't touch leverage. Stay safe. Make sure you are not overexposed and not able to be washed out of any flushes. There will be some extremely large fluctuations in this parabolic period. Do not get wiped. Whether that's through leverage or like you're putting money that you cannot afford to lose, that like it swings, you panic sell. To make sure you don't get into those scenarios, and you will win. But this part is much easier said than done. So make sure of this. Keep that in mind. That's the only thing that you need at this point. Yeah. Okay. I will see you guys on Sunday. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it. Bye now.